Where'd my agenda go? Oh, where did your agenda go? Okay, since I wasn't here last week, I don't know what was discussed on the format of the budget committee recommendations, and where are we with that?
Very little was discussed.
Okay, well, I kind of thought that was probably the case.
Yep.
I don't know if it was, whether it was a little bit early, maybe, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know if it was early. Well, I mean, time-wise, it wasn't particularly early. I think that's one of the reasons why we didn't talk about it.
That's what I mean.
No, but are you going to?
Let's get down to the issue. The issue is, do we have the same format as we have followed in the past, or do we sort of give a bottom line on the expenses, as I understand the issue? So,
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I don't understand I don't know what this really meant, quite honestly. I know I put it on there, but I put it on there probably for my education. Is this the recommendation we make to council? No. To the public?
To the public. This is what's on the docket.
Based on the docket? Okay, all right.
I'll only call it that.
Thank you.
Okay,
I know
all
it
right.
irritates you.
Okay. Gracious.
Yes.
this is the committee that would hold the department heads accountable. Your operating expenses are X. And the backup would be retained by us if people have questions, how much gas, how much diesel do you use, etc. If they want to use more money out of one account than another account, that's going to be their decision, but they have an overall operating budget.
Bottom line.
Bottom line, you got to stay with that.
Right, and the capital, I think, would stay the same as line item.
That would shorten the document considerably.
Kill of transparency, though. Yeah. I don't think that's fair to the public.
Laura, can you just show John the,
Go ahead, I want to say something, one thing. To me, we pay people to be managers. They have a budget with, the fire chief needs to buy something that wasn't budgeted and he has money in another account. I don't see why the fire chief has to go groveling to somebody to spend $500 somewhere else than what the budget was. That budget is 18 months down the road, or a little bit less than that. You can't, there's not a person here who can take their household budget right now and tell me what they're going to spend next April in electricity. They can come close. If we have a really bad winter, heating's going to go up. So I just think that department heads should be allowed to move money around. Now, I understand my experience on the town side, that's never been the case, but on the school department side, we've always had that ability. Now, we certainly had that ability in Massachusetts. I had a bottom line. In fact, the budget in Massachusetts was often, at town meeting, voted as $53,492. That's it. It was a bottom line, period.
I got one for you, though.
Go ahead.
Okay, case in point. On my transfers, I found they took $5,000 out of building maintenance.
Yeah.
Now, I believe that there was a leak in the town hall roof somewhere, but they're not gonna fix it now until at least June or July. Maybe they could have taken that $5,000 and helped to fix it, but now, that money's gone out of there. And that's why I say, they can go run through all their money and then come back to town council and say, hey, guess what, we need another $100,000. Well, I don't know, it went here, there, and everywhere, and now we don't have money to fix a roof.
Well,
I don't see that that's gonna benefit trying to keep a budget on track.
I don't think anything is going to stop that. You can go to town council and say, I need $5,000 from here to here. Something comes up, you don't use it, you have to use it for something else. You can come back to town council and say, my second thought, we should have something that came up that's a higher priority, we want to move it over to here, and when something else happens, by the time you're at the end of the fiscal year, you haven't spent it. It rolls to the bottom line at the end of the year.
Can you just
Pay people to do a job.
I don't think that's really what our discussion is. though.
No, it's not, but...
Well, I know, I just want to clarify something. so that, and we have the camera on, let's all be on the same page. With this line item, this is a budget, okay? This budget goes to the treasurer's office and it gets entered in the accounting system, right? So that this line item is always available to anybody whenever they want it, every month they see it. During the course of the year, the council and the different department heads move monies between these accounts.
Yeah.
This is a plan for the year. This is how we're going to look at the end of June 2016. This is how we would like to see things spent, but the council has the authority and the wherewithal and the knowledge to move things around. So what I'm getting at is that, yes, the line items are important, they're important goals, but I think sometimes there is a misunderstanding where the people think they are approving $15,000 for XYZ item, and thou shalt not spend any less or any more than $15,000
So I've
item.
spoken to the gentleman who was the head of the budget board in Lincoln, and they do very well with the budget. In fact, the budget board meets year-round. They put in a thing where people cannot transfer money until the fourth quarter. And they said that's worked very well for them, because instead of, thinking, oh, we got all this money, so let's do this, that, and that with it, and then, in the first quarter, like, there's already been transfers from the first quarter of this year. And then they run out of money, they have to budget their money through the year so that can't really transfer in the fourth quarter. Let's keep a tighter rein on the budget. You're talking about keeping a lesser rein on it.
No, and I think if you watch the council, you will not see a lot of transfers until the fourth quarter. At least I've not seen a lot of transfers.
I sat there for 20 years.
Yes.
It's really the fourth quarter where you do
That's
it.
exactly.
It's a rare in the intermediary. But look at the school committee. We approve a bottom line, and yet they have accounting practices, as we do. You can see what they budget for the year.
They have what you call finance manager. So we don't have that with the police department, the fire department is running rampant. You're gonna give them the bottom line, you tell them to put up with that.
That's what we do now, Madeline.
Well, I know, but we still need a better track of it.
Well, no.
This is in the system. They will use the same.
It's all in the system, it doesn't hide, it's all in the financial system.
I know myself, when I'm not on this budget committee, and I wanna go into vote, I'm gonna wanna see that, all that. That's me. I mean, and I think, like you said, you can go to how many people know you can go to the treasurer and ask her for the report monthly? If they have that in front of them, they're better to look back if they can have, they took one, I just think that without even that.
If you're sitting there,
It will be. I mean, how much they're budgeting for gas and how much we're talking about information to the taxpayers. We have the backup, the school committee has the backup, they're not giving them any more money.
We're really talking about what the voters are getting, not how the budget's managed.
Correct.
it's beyond budget.
Right. But I really,
How the budget presents.
Exactly.
Condenses that document.
Exactly.
And what is the protection? I am concerned that any potential elector petition, they have the right to work with line items and change them around or suggest new ones, or remand to the budget committee under the charter. And under our charter.
On the
Oh,
charter.
that's fine, but I don't understand what you've said, so.
Elector, under the new financial town referendum, any citizen can file an elector petition presenting their own budget.
Right, okay, that's what I thought you meant, okay, that's right.
And under the charter, it indicates that that person can either indicate which line items he has problems with, or he or she might want to change, or it can just remand it to the budget committee. So my only question.
They can still do that. I mean, why not? And you just get the line item, we'll be working with a line item, there'll be a line item available from, the municipal side. If somebody wanted, to make, you just get a copy and
Why do you want to change? Is it because you can't do that report? Because I think that's a silly.
No, I don't do the report.
On the report.
First of all, I don't think it's silly.
Question of readability, too.
It's readability, it's fairness.
This had actually, I'd like to take a test as to how many. It is a magnificent document, okay? It tells you all the revenues and all, by the past 10 years, tells you how this, that, but I'll bet you if you gave a test to people in this town, they want to know, what's my taxes going to be this year? And, the markup is going to be there.
That's a good mean to go by, that you think that they don't look at it, so why bother?
I haven't looked at
No,
that.
I think a readability is making people understand that the fire department will get for operating expenses, not necessarily salary, but operating expenses, this much to operate, and then let the people hold them accountable.
I think you have two categories of expenses. You've got personnel and you've got operating expenses. And there may be a third one. But that's what managers do, is take that money and manage it. And the average person, and I'm an average person, I don't know. I never looked at that document.
Why is the town council now getting monthly reports from the fire department to kind of keep ring on it?
That's standard supervision. Every department head should present.
Not this close, they're trying to fix this, there's a problem there.
I got monthly financial reports from my principals and from department heads and special ed about out-of-district tuition. I mean, that's something town council can say, I want a monthly report.
This is a particular problem that they're having that we have to fix.
We don't have to fix it. We're the budget committee, we're not the operating committee. We review budget requests, put it together, make our recommendations.
I know I'm in the minority, and I think it's a very bad idea.
What happens-
And the guy from Lincoln said it was a very bad idea.
What happens in the individual departments is the department head's responsibility, and whoever that department head reports to. If it's a town council department, then that department head answers to the
Okay,
town
let me
council
say
and town
bottom line.
administrator. And we don't know.
Start from this town. You say because they're a manager, that they're supposed to be honest and trustworthy and everything. He proves that that was not the case, so I don't go by your theory. I don't go, just
Well,
say bottom
who
line.
are you talking about?
He was a manager in the department,
Who?
Bobby Martin,
Okay, who's the supervisor? Who did he work for?
Mr. Costello.
Well-
And they're both, I'm just saying, you can't trust these people, that's what I'm saying. There's no way you can't trust them.
Based on what definition can't you trust them?
Well, if you got out
Well, then don't have them on board.
I'm
Do away with the position. If you're gonna manage the thing, nickel down from a, well, again, that's not the budget committee's responsibility.
Exactly.
We do the budget, we present it to the town council, and two organizations manage it.
We present it to the town.
Can present it to the town.
The town,
We present it to the town,
Presented, are we?
and that's fine. And the town votes however they're gonna vote.
Just talk about
That's
how you
it.
want to present the budget.
Now, we may be frustrated as a budget committee, sometimes maybe, but that's the limit of our responsibility.
Exactly.
We go away at the financial town referendum. We no longer have a job. Now, I don't know what Lincoln does, and the one thing that I've always found in this business is trying to compare towns is very dicey, because you don't know what their policies are.
but you don't know what the policies
Every town does
are.
it different.
Right, but what I think you can do, right, but I think what you can do is look at the format that other towns use. I've looked at several.
Sure.
Just, for some of them, I like the way they walk you through
I
it.
think that one of the problems is, other than that, I don't know the other ones you're talking about or what they even look like.
Other ones, well,
Yeah, I think if you
Any
get
other one
online,
looks like, I have no idea.
budget, if you get online and look at other towns and look at their budget documents and what they present to the.
You know, maybe it would be helpful just to take up one page from any community, so that people have it before, maybe we can persuade Madeline, who's now a media hound in the Newport. Persuade her that accountability is there. we could persuade her.
I just need to see something.
Can we continue it to the next one?
Yes, we can. Mr. Perry.
We have a town council member who would like to say something.
I'd just like to,
Nice to see you.
Dave Perry, down the line, I'd just like to say one thing on that docket, and I mentioned this last week, and Louise just brought it up again about how many people actually look at that docket. Last week I told you that 1,000 dockets were printed. At the town referendum, there were 4,000 votes. So 3/4 of the population in town didn't look at that docket.
Shouldn't be based on that, though. They should be able to have it if they want it, even if it's one.
They will have it if they want it, but 3/4 of them,
Believe me.
No,
well, you're on TV right now, so they'll know where to come and get it at the end of the process.
they're working.
But every year, we print a lot less than the voters out there go out and vote.
Only
It's
half
online, if you want it, it's online.
the referendum.
Go online.
2 years, so you really can't base it on like a 10-year
But
span.
even in the past.
Even before, you only had 351 votes, so that's a lot less than you had the 4,000.
Wouldn't we prepare a document that we would have
We
this
have to,
information?
well, you think we'd want to prepare something.
Exactly, and that would be, and if people wanted a copy of it, they could get it.
Yeah.
But the presentation to the town would be, I don't know, if people, sort of the same way. And we call it the Madeline O'Dell backup.
Even if you wanted to, put a little more detail, if you go back to the school committee budget, we've got sections. We've got salaries, personnel, you've got salaries and pensions and services, you've got personnel services, which are employee benefits. I don't believe, from a public perspective, that anybody is going to look at web-based supplemental instruction program. Who cares? They might look at the total personnel services employee benefits line, which is $747,000.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I think if,
I don't think we need all of those
I agree.
rubbish disposal. I mean, it's rubbish disposal.
No, but I think we need more than just the total.
That's fine, that's fine. I'm trying to look at all of this.
Yeah,
You want more than the summary page.
Correct, and that's fine.
but just put some like.
But I just don't think we need all of these. I mean, we've all been to town meetings, and that's just history, I know, where people have gotten up and spoken for an hour on a $5,000 line item. I don't think we need that. I don't think the public even cares. Some people do. There's a budget, but there's this detail available, so you can kind of look at it.
On this summary page, what other line items would you want to see?
I don't have that.
Well, that's not, I mean, we can go on and on about it, but.
Well, my thing was, the reason why it was brought up, or so I thought, was because Lauren F. doesn't have the time to do it. And I thought, well, that's kind of a foolish reason to change the way we've been doing it. But I guess that's not the real reason.
It's part of the reason, it's a big part of my reason.
Well, I mean,
Look, whatever the budget committee decides they want for a format is what it's going to be. And we'll figure out how to get it done.
they'll fix it, that's my thing.
Well, I think some of us think it's broke.
So let's just have it,
More people looking at it, Madeline.
Yeah, because I'm talking about it, right?
No, but I think if they did not get so bogged down in the details, but enough so that they understood what the town was doing, et cetera. And anybody who wanted additional material could come and get it.
it's like dinner.
You don't have to pay for it. If you ask the, public,
Just get 3 copies
you
of
have to
that.
pay.
Okay, I think we can work with the town clerk to make sure that,
I will contact some of the communities around and get their budget presentation, if you will, on how it
Well, there's only a few of the cities and towns that have budget boards or commissions or departments.
Right.
That's the difference between, like a town council being the budget or, you know what I'm saying? That's why I was comparing to Lincoln, because Lincoln's one of the few that has a budget board.
It's, I think
I
it's,
don't think there's anything magic about a budget board. I think that the magic is what's given to the public for them to vote on.
exactly.
Even town councils have to produce something
I don't know why I'm here, I always hated budget committees. God, the last thing in the world I ever wanted to do was go before a budget
All right,
committee.
so what are you gonna do?
And here I am,
Is that a couple of, what some of the people do?
I'll see to a few towns that I know, and see if I can get, see the document that goes available to the voters and see what's there and see what we've got and see it. I understand your concerns, I just don't think we need some of that. I mean, it's really good,
People do when the overtime and when the fire department goes way over, where are they gonna get the money? Is he gonna cross budget?
But what we do right now doesn't make a difference to that.
No, it doesn't. And
And that department head, if that department head, we'll do that, because that's what we would do, because the fire department overtime and police department overtime are often very, very difficult to control. If that department head is running out of overtime money, and it's January, he has got to figure out, he or she, how is he gonna fund overtime?
They take it from other people's budgets, from what I've seen.
But the fire department can't do that.
they have to.
The fire department can only do it within their budget.
No, I understand that, but he's going over he's using up all the money, and then he's,
But what I found, when I did that, when I took the fourth quarter, the transfers, I found that some of these, it's all padding. It's padding, because you put 10,000 in this account, and you took 10,000 out of that account. So my thing is, I can look at it now, as they come before us this year, I'm gonna say, well, how come we gave you 10,000 on that, for that line last year, you transferred it out? You don't need that this year, and you're saying you need it again. It's a way to get rid of some of that fluff and get down to the nitty-gritty so we can streamline it, so we can have the taxpayers pay less money.
Well, one of the things, and I wasn't going to comment on it for the school department budget, but my experience in building a budget has been to present. So we're dealing with the FY16 budget. What was spent in FY14? What was budgeted in FY14? What was spent?
Just like we have in that document.
What was budgeted in FY15, and where are we? And what are you requesting for FY16? Now you've got 3 years of history, and you can see if somebody moved money and didn't spend it in that account. If you got an account that's $50,000, and you see expended $10,000, and you have a $40,000 balance, where'd that money go? What was it used for? And you can see that 2 years ago. So if they still asking for 50,000, then 55, so wait a minute, you haven't spent it in the past, why do you need it
So
now?
how are you gonna?
That gives you visibility.
Small things, that's what we go by,
This is what it says. I just have 2 things to say.
Okay.
First of all,
Okay.
I get your point about seeing the line items, and this is where I come, when you're preparing the budgets, it's very important to look at the line items. We are not going to stop looking at the line items. But to use this as the basis for preparing, using last year's painted word to prepare the next year's budget is not particularly helpful, because think about what we're preparing. We're preparing something that's 17, 18 months out. You want to be seeing actuals. You want to be seeing, what did you budget? How much did you spend? How much are you asking for? This doesn't tell you that.
You're not saying the bottom line, the bottom line's not gonna tell you that either.
But you have other reports that you look at to make those decisions. What we prepare for the voters is just one piece of what we use when you're putting together budgets, what the administrator uses, what the superintendent uses. Now, as to the point of moving money around, or the concern about overtime and where that money is coming from, controlling or being concerned or wanting to understand or have input into those decisions and keeping track of them has nothing to do with this. For those, you need to be looking at the monthly reports from the treasurer to see what was budgeted, how much have they spent. So this, all this is a one-time,
Snapshot.
it's just a,
There's no reason why the budget committee could not get the same monthly reports.
Sure.
Or we start the process.
we got it.
There's an
Well, I haven't, I mean, obviously we have not received them as
Yeah, you
yet.
have someone that's gonna replace that, fine, but we're talking about just, you gotta go and get it, you gotta go ask for it.
If that's something we want, we can get it off.
I mean, it's a matter of course, like she said, to replace it, fine, if we, it's a matter of course, we just get it, instead of having to ask for it, having to have this place or that place.
When do you guys get budget?
So I don't know
When do you get financial reports, monthly?
Yes.
We get a financial report, Mike.
Maybe we can get the same.
We haven't.
But,
The commission will give you the end of the year report, and that's the one you really want to look at, because that has what was budgeted, what was spent, and the transfers is right in the middle column. And she will give you that every month as you go along.
and it goes back to my comments about ripping down the budget. I'm not concerned in this process of what that department is doing this year. That's not our responsibility. We can have a report that gives us some background as to where that department is, but I don't need to know where they're spending it per se. I want to know how are they doing relative to their budget right now,
I think,
as it relates to what they're requesting for FY16.
but I think that's what, I think the transfers are important. If somebody put 10,000 in one account and then they transferred it all out, then they obviously didn't need it.
No, they made I've done this a great many times, you make a management decision. Let me ask you a question. If your car dies tonight, what are your options? Literally, what are your options? That's right, what are they?
Oh, you can buy a new car.
You can buy a new
Have that
car.
one fixed.
Have it fixed, lease a car,
Yep,
walk, take a bus,
yep.
all decisions, no different than a manager makes in his department that says, my overtime's going to hell in a handbasket. Gotta do something about it. Let's take a look at what we've got in our budget. Well, you know what, we can cut back on this, we can cut back on that, and we can transfer $15,000 to the overtime account, but we're still $80,000 short. I gotta go to the town council and say, I need some help. And the town council can do whatever the town council does. Okay? I know what a school committee does.
Done it forever.
And that's it. You're not gonna sit there, but I don't wanna sit here, and it's not our job to tell the department head that he can find $15,000 in his budget and move that over to overtime. That's not what we do.
The town is never going to not pay our bills.
That's right.
We have to pay the bills.
That's right.
And then it's the town council's problem to deal with that person or persons who are overspending. It's not the budget committee's responsibility.
We go away. I agree to having background data to review a budget request, okay? And then, I'm going to tell you one other thing, and I don't want to beat this one to death too long. You have what are called recurring transfers, or recurring expenses, and non-recurring. I may have to transfer money to the salt account because we've had a bad winter. But I don't want that transfer to carry forward to the following year, because the following year, in a regular year, the original budget was fine. You have others where you have to do something that in fact becomes an annual account, and therefore you want a budget transfer, so that when you're looking at the following year's budget, you can see what you spent, and remember, oh yeah, I can't budget what I budgeted last year because we're going to spend this amount, and now my budget is going to change when I request 2016 or 2017.
That's why you look at a 3-year budget.
Okay, can we, I mean, this
Can
is...
we have Steve
We got a while to go on
Would
this.
be interested in producing
We
that
did some
document,
minutes.
as he does already
Yeah.
for us? If you would be interested in producing the final document for us?
What, who?
I know you want something smaller than that docket.
Oh, you mean this?
Well, let's talk about what we want to vote to
about it.
voters,
Think about it.
and then, yeah.
Me, that's right, we've got a ways to go before we get to that
I
point.
mean, let's have some examples.
I thought that was his job anyway.
It has to come from us, because we're the budget committee.
What is his job?
It's at us,
Us,
I thought it was that.
No.
The town administrator, he made up that
Oh, no, not the docket.
We can't decide that. Let the chairman,
Let me see what we can, let me see what I can find for some,
I will we continue this and...
Well, let's get the minutes,
I'll second.
let's get the minutes approved. I don't want to get behind on getting minutes done.
I will make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second it. Wait a minute, there's two sets
Yeah,
of minutes.
for the January 8th meeting,
Yeah,
as well as the January 15th meeting.
so moved.
Both?
I second it.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Yeah, it's fine.
Any discussion?
Did I beat you?
No problem.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Now, what else do we have?
We have the agenda for next week.
Agenda for next week is the town clerk's office, and then the following, the first meeting in February is code enforcement and planning department and so on.
And
So-
I'd like to ask Sally, I think this is school committee, the school department is the site visit. Do you know where it's going to be?
When is it?
I think it's a Saturday, isn't it?
Tell me what goes on a site visit.
I don't know.
You look at the automatic control.
Isn't it on there?
I don't even know, I looked at that, and I put it in the proposal, because the math, but as I was doing that, I'm saying, why don't you go on a site visit with the fire department, the police department, the school department, I mean,
You go on site visits every year, you go just before you, they come before you, that's why it was weird how school department was put after.
tradition unhampered by progress, why do we do it? Is there a reason?
To see what they're talking about, what they need money for. Yeah. I
Some people, I gotta tell you, again,
I thought it was educational.
again,
I have to take the
the maintenance budget is such a little portion of the overall budget. You can't see inside boilers. You can't predict that a boiler's gonna blow the 10th of February by walking around and seeing it.
They've always gone to site visits.
I know, my point is why?
see the reason for it.
I don't either.
Well, we don't have one scheduled. I
Well,
would
I
just,
thought it was.
No.
Well, I've got some schedules in there, but I sure in hell can take them out.
well,
And I'll bet the department heads would love it if we didn't do a site visit.
that's what I'm, the 14th is the first one. I'd just like to make sure that we know what we're doing next week.
Yes.
Is that everything that is scheduled for February 12th? Or just the town clerk's office?
February 12th or the 29th?
We have the town clerk's office, Board of Canvassers, Municipal Court Program, FTO.
Everything that's listed on 212.
All right, so we have the EDC coming before us?
Yes.
And we have the tax assessor?
Yep.
Okay, so they've all been contacted.
They're
Well,
all coming on which day?
they work for Nancy, so I'm assuming
No, they don't.
well, then,
No, they
who
don't.
do they work for?
The EDC comes under...
They don't work for me.
They're a volunteer committee, they work under Matt, the town sergeant,
Then to me, it
the
sounds like it's Matt's
tax
Matt's
assessor.
responsibility to notify the town departments.
Right.
I'll make sure of it.
The 212 ones on the schedule are coming on 129?
February, exactly. So all you have to do is copy this section
Section
to make the agenda.
Can I make a suggestion
Yes, ma'am.
that just having the town clerk's office, that's probably gonna be a half-hour meeting, if that. I mean, there's nothing really
No,
controversial in
and
town.
I didn't see anything controversial about all the rest of these.
Well,
But
EDC,
that
town
was the same
sergeant,
schedule, and I didn't try to...
No,
You know,
I wondered
so-
just whether we could collapse that into the February 5th meeting.
All at once.
Well, as you look at that, the treasurer, the debt service, the zoning official.
Well, that, yeah, you know
For
what?
that, I'll just leave it.
No, actually, Louise, I thought of that when I was doing this, that it looked like a very
That's fine.
non-meaty budget meeting, which,
Well, it will give us time to go through the
Oh, yeah.
docket.
so,
Okay, we can argue about the...
yeah, good luck, Doc. All right, I'll see what I can do.
okay, so 212's schedule becomes 129's.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
And I second it.
One minute, one minute, can I have 1 minute? Just on the site visits.
I went back and sit here.
No, I'm just liaison. On the site visits, you said that the departments really don't like them. They really do like them, because what they do is they show you what they've done to their department,
Okay.
It might be the buildings and the police department, what he's done there on his own, and it hasn't cost you a penny. And what the fire department has done in his departments, and just one for instance that, I don't know if you ever seen the Jaws of Life?
Yes.
Well, he was requested to move Jaws of Life from the and when we went down, I actually took my wife. It took two people to pick up the Jaws of Life. They brought him in, and now it takes one person.
Yeah.
So it's something like that you get to see. That's the only reason why they go on.
Waste of time for both sides.
It's good for new people.
Good for both sides.
How long does it usually take?
About an hour.
Okay, that's fine. I had that issue when I was thinking. Anyway, all in favor of adjourning? Any opposed? Unanimous.